Hey guys, Steve Woody here. This is the first time I've done a video like this. It's a react video, like a Steve Woody reacts, I guess. I've seen people doing it in other genres and with other games, and it's been really good. And I thought I'd try it myself because, well, I like to talk, and I've got a lot of opinions. Most of them pretty much worthless, but who knows? Maybe we can get some good content out of this. And also, I kind of want to discuss this topic at the moment. So, Atlas Theory, who is a great guy. I don't know them very well, but from the Star Atlas community, definitely putting a lot of effort into creating content, definitely a prominent figure in the space, and really making an effort at content creation and playing in Star Atlas. Posted a video called My Response to the Star Atlas SDU Problem. Well, I saw this. It popped up onto my timeline, and my first thought was, there's a Star Atlas SDU problem? I wasn't aware of one. I know there's some balancing and some challenging that's been going on, and we had the recent patch and everything, and I thought, okay, this is an 18-minute video, but I'll watch it. And so we're going to jump in, and I'm just going to give my feedback on this video. So let's just go ahead and get started.
What's up, guys? I'm about to be cancelled. No.
I love this start, by the way. I was like, what's up? I'm about to be cancelled. And I was like, okay, you've hooked me in. I'm listening. What's going on? Like, this is obviously something raw. And there's like a nervous laugh there. So I'm like, okay, you've got me. So what's this about?
Welcome back to Atlas Theory. The little bit of a different video here today. I'm going to leave the camera rolling. I want this to be raw.
Love that.
Just like,
not many people do that these days. Love it. Easier to edit as well.
Reaction. This is concerning a few things. I think first I'll jump in and discuss like the SDU problem. Let's say that a lot of
I don't know if there's a problem, but I'm interested to hear more.
Newer players are finding, and then I kind of want to get into like a little bit of community culture because I've seen that shifting.
Absolutely. When I first come into the community, I definitely, as a new player coming into that community, felt and saw the culture, and there's been other conversations around this, and it'd be interested to see what they say.
Slightly, and just a few other things that I just want to get out and share with you guys. Super nervous making this video.
Don't be, dude. You're awesome. This is great therapy.
Because I think that like it's good to share when your community is going through a little bit of a rough patch.
Being very careful with your words.
A whale in Star Atlas. I am not a spreadsheet warrior. I very much am building a place for people to come in and have a casual fun experience in Star Atlas.
Okay.
And also targeting a lot of the content to the newer player, right?
I kind of think that you're early. I mean, and I love that because timing's everything, right? But your content creation and your target audience, the game's not ready for them yet. The game is right now ready for these spreadsheet warriors. That's who this appeals to. That's who this is for. This is not a game to be marketed to the mass. This is not a game for mass adoption right now. This is not a game for everyone to come in and play. There's a lot of hype surrounding it. There's a lot of people coming into it. But let's be real. The only fun that people are getting out of this at the moment is the sense of hoarding or selling at the moment, because that's fun for people to make money, right? Or diving into the possibilities of what's to come. That's what's fun right now. There's no game per se. There's no real Unreal Engine side of it at the moment, apart from the showroom. There's no FPS in the moment. There's no burns and sinks in the economy at the moment, really. I mean, there are some, but not only early days. Like, there's no combat, for example, right? And so there's a lot of the elements that will make this a true game that are missing. And so I love creating content early. I love making sure things are out there. And I also, like, my whole channel is around noobs, right? We're about beginners, and I do beginner guides and help people to get into stuff. So I totally respect where you're coming from. And I've done the same with Star Atlas. I've created those videos, but I also understand that we're early. And I mean, that's such a cliche. It's said all the time. Maybe you're not early to make money, but you're early to play the game.
So those are my people. So
I
when
feel
they
you.
have concerns, I feel like I do need to voice those. Um, Now, before we go too far into it, I do want to preface that I am fully aware that Star Atlas is working on SDU slash scanning gameplay, and they are going to come out with more fixes to make it more enjoyable, and they're keeping the smaller player in mind.
Just let's, when you say fixes, it's not broken. Let's just understand that SDU scanning right now is not broken. It's boring, it's crap, people don't enjoy it, but it is the only thing right now that is holding the perception that people have for the current value of ships, because most ships right now have no utility. They don't. The only, like, you can take the manufacturer sale price, you can take the VWAP, you can take anything like that, but the reality is the only utility a ship has is what you can do with it. And right now, apart from staking a load of stuff in Score or in Sage Labs and running around mining some stuff, there's no real utility. And there's a lot of money invested in these ships, right? So this is going to take time. This is not like we're going to switch flick a switch and everything's just going to be enabled. At the moment, we've seen utility for air bikes, and that's why the air bike market has been pumping. And we've seen utility for transporters like the OM, like the Rainbow OM, for example. And that's why we saw a spike in that activity. We also saw some other ships around that, but at the moment, that's really the only thing that's been affected. Now, here's the other thing. People have gone out, swept the floor, and bought the Fimbul air bikes to use them for SDU scanning because SDU scanning was really profitable while it was in discovery. But here's the reality. Sorry, dude, I paused it with you like your eyes closed and stuff. But the reality here is that the Fimbul air bikes are not designed to scan SDUs. So people are buying them now, and when that meta shifts, which it will, and people are just stuck with like 1,000 air bikes, what are you going to do with them? Like rent them out to like racetrack, like track day meets or something? Like there's no real, like, unless you're going to create some Zerg army of like pocket rockets that are going to run around like trying to take on, I don't know, C9s and C11s or something. Like, I just don't see the purpose of a Fimbul air bike in the grander scale. It's an entryway into, you know, the raceway, if anything. So I just think people need to be a bit careful at the moment. They can't judge the current release as the game. This is just an iteration like V1. And there will be so many economic balances that will come as a result of that. But I don't think SDUs are broken. I think that they opened the economy and they needed to do it in a controlled way. And I think SDUs are the main control lever that they have right now. And I think that it is good that it is so difficult to be able to obtain them. I don't disagree with that. It hurt me as much as everyone else, and there's been a lot of speculation, and it's been interesting to watch.
I believe in them to accomplish that.
I don't think it's broken though.
So I need to preface that. Also, I entered the Star Atlas Discord last night, and I do want to thank Siggy, because I posted a response, and he challenged me to not maybe jump to some conclusions before we see these fixes I just talked about. And I do appreciate that as a friend.
By the way, Siggy and Dominic are legends. Absolutely amazing. Santi as well. Just the Siggy, what he's doing on, and I've spoken to him, what he's doing on Twitter at the moment, and the attention and stuff he's building around Star Atlas, amazing. Dominic and Santi, what they're doing with the community at the moment, amazing. A great team, and they all work really, really well together. So a lot of respect for those guys.
So wanted to give you a shout out. But let's jump into it. Behind the Horizon, this is more of a response to the video he put out. If you have not seen that video, it holds a lot of context to what I'm going to say. Also, Pathfinder has spoken up about this as well. So I'll leave that channel as well in the description. Now, I'm a very positive person, I believe.
I can feel the nerves in the laugh. I love it. It's raw.
Any sort of negativity or drama, because that's not the channel I'm building. But a lot of the community, and you can see it if you go to Beyond the Horizons video and start reading the comments, I have also been reached out to personally from new and smaller players. They're having a hard time,
Mm-hmm.
Star Atlas,
Yep.
and
Because it's
I
not
know
ready for
that
them
you're
yet.
doing a lot of fixing to neutralize the bot situation. So we saw that 10x right, and toolkits needed. I loved that move um, from part of my perspective, but it actually did hurt another account, and that being my Zero to Hero series.
Yep.
Right,
Killed
I'm
mine
going
too.
around with 2 air bikes, trying to
Yep.
not a lot of Atlas, not a lot of resources,
I
trying to
feel ya.
climb my way up. Right, seeing if it's possible with our gameplay.
Not right
Now,
now.
on the other hand, I have a good amount of small ships. I have a few medium ships, so I'm like I'm upper small slash medium level player as far as my assets go. So there have been some changes that I've been like, hell yeah, like I love it. But as I play my Zero to Hero series more and more, it is becoming more difficult to turn a profit. I know that's not the full purpose, of any of this gameplay.
Let me just say this, because I did a Zero to Hero series as well, and I did 5 episodes, and I realized it's not possible. And so I stopped doing it because what I didn't want to do was create the illusion that someone can come in with $20 at the moment and break even or have fun. You can't. You can't. You can't. You just can't. And it's wrong to pretend you can. So whilst I love the Zero to Hero and I think you're absolutely nailing it and I love what you're building, I think you're putting this content out too early. And I think, just personal opinion, I think you need to wait for more game loops to be able to do that. I think right now, this, like, people are going to look back in a few months' time and a lot of this is going to be irrelevant because it's not going to matter anymore. And so it almost feels like a waste of time, right? You want people to jump in now, but the people that jump in now, you need to jump in with thousands. If you're not jumping in with thousands of dollars, you're not going to make a few dollars back. And let's just be realistic. The amount you have to pay for ships at the moment, you are not going to make that back right now. You're just not. You're just not. You're not going to make that back right now. You're hoping that you're going to make that back in the future when things become harder. For example, if you're mining diamonds for mud at the moment and the combat comes in, it's going to be a lot harder to go to the medium risk zone. Now, here's the thing. If you were mining before, when we started, it was a lot harder than it is now because assets and fuel and a lot of other stuff are so much cheaper now to be able to move stuff about and to be able to travel. So there was obviously a discrepancy, right? The discrepancy wasn't with the players or how much money they can make or anything. The discrepancy that was noted by the economic team, which I totally respect, they saw a discrepancy between the mint and burn rate of SDUs and the mint and burn rate of R4 and R9. And that's what they looked at. And they wanted to close the gap so that it was a little bit more balanced between the resources and the SDUs. But the SDUs are meant to be difficult. And the fact they've made them even harder, it actually disrupted the bots for a little while. I was able to go in and get some arbitrage on the marketplace just by flipping air bikes, make a bit of money there because the marketplace bots seem to back off and go, look, we don't have a clue what's going on. We're going to step back. So real people for once were able to use the marketplace and not be sniped on the market. So it's actually been a really, really good thing for that. There's an opportunity there if you're willing to take the risk and find it. But the ability to take an air bike, scan, and make profit on it, that's what people are doing. It's the meta right now, but that's not the intention of the game. Like, that's not what it's for. And also, it shouldn't be for those bikes, right?
Is not to profit. We're building a game for fun.
No, we're here to profit. We want to make money. Like, you do not put thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into buying a ship unless you're Star Citizen or unless you want to profit. Don't get me wrong, like, people have dumped, like, Star Citizen did 1.9 million revenue yesterday off a $300 ship that you had to win a game to be eligible to buy it. It's like, hey, you've won something, now you can go and buy something with that ticket you've won, right? They did this ticket thing, which is great, by the way. I love the gameplay loop. It's been amazing. But at the same time, it's still like, hey, you've got this ticket, making it seem like it was an exclusive ticket when in reality it was so common because everyone can get it because they want the money, right? And they made 1.9 million in sales on the back of that, so it works. Like, people are buying ships, and that's in a Web 2 game that you're never going to earn from, right? Star Atlas, different level because you can do more with it, but let's be realistic. The fun that people are going to get out of this game at the moment is going to be the money they make. And people are not spending thousands on a ship to have fun at the moment. People are spending thousands on a ship to be able to create content around it, to be able to invest it, to be able to take part in the economy because they want to earn money. That's why people are buying these ships, because they are positioning themselves to be able to cash out eventually at some point.
Building a game that's going to last ages, right? So I am trying to keep that perspective in my head, and then that matched with there's more changes to come. But as of right now, yeah, I want to join my fellow content creators in being a voice for our communities.
Okay.
I also want to shout out the team real fast. This is, Wagner, Santi, Dom, Jose. You
Yep.
guys are killing it every
Yep.
week, right?
I agree. They're doing incredible.
Love it. The game design people as well. They're speaking out more and more, coming on to the Metaverse Nomad show, which is a great show.
Yep.
As well as speaking in the Atlas Brew. So this is
Really
not
good to have that
simply
connection with
a
the team.
message to the team. Period.
No, I agree. The team are doing incredible. And there's also a big disconnect between communities and the core teams. A lot of the communities react. They're very, very reactive. They're very emotional. And most communities, and a lot of the time, this is due to the teams, because a lot of communities are set expectations by projects. And when those expectations aren't quite realized or aren't quite met, it causes a lot of distress. And so we see a lot of reaction, we see a lot of emotion, and specifically because people are investing more money than they should in most cases, which is why they're reacting emotionally, normally because they're over leveraged or because they bought the top and they don't like it. But the reality at the moment is there are a lot of salty people. But there's also a lot of hopeful people, and I think there's a split and a divide, and you'll notice that there's some really, really incredible people in the community, and we're starting to see that, and people are building relationships, and it's amazing. It really is amazing. But for a new player, it's very easy to come in and get caught up in the drama. I'm just going to say that.
Okay. Anyways, I think that we do need some solutions, and I hope they're in the sheet there, or the. This is one of those things I would normally edit out. The roadmap, let's say, of the changes you want to make, right? And I know a lot of your focus has been about bots, because that was an earlier complaint about the community. I never found too much problem with it. We needed the SDUs in the economy, in my opinion. And then also, I loved your responses and the direction that Star Alice is taking in dealing with bots, because they are inevitable.
This is true. I've been involved in projects with, we've crashed layer 2 networks before because of bots, and I've dealt with bots, and you will never get rid of them. And you will spend so much time and money, like the resources that you will deploy to fight bots, and they will keep evolving. You will never beat them. You'll never beat them. And the best way that I have found through dealing with this for years now in Web3 is you have to build viable gameplay loops that support the bots, that allow them to coexist, but that really focus on proof of humanity. Proof of humanity is the key to making this work. Bots are becoming so smart now, and most simple economic gameplay loops will be botted. And so if there is profit to be made, bots will try and exploit that. And the more that you do to try and combat that, yeah, you can deal with some of the low-hanging bots, and that will deal with a lot of the big problems. No different to sticking a honeypot on a capture form, or a capture on a form. You can deal with a lot of the low-level bots with that. But the more sophisticated bots, the big operations, they're very smart, they're very well funded, and they're very determined, and they will. And here's the other thing as well. The really, really good bots, the people who are smart, and people that build bots are smart, you have to be. But the people who are smart and also decent people that have seen an opportunity, they won't destroy the marketplace. They know that for the marketplace to succeed, they can cream off the top, but they can't take from, like, it's like you can always take. there's always been the same, right? That you should never take from your cup only your saucer. I'm British, so I'm using a tea analogy. But you should never take from your cup only from your saucer, meaning that you need to be in abundance. It needs to be overflowing. If you're going to take profits off the top, that's great. But if you start taking your golden goose, you're not going to get any more golden eggs. And so bots, smart people building bots, and if you're watching this, this is also a message for you. If you're going to build bots, but don't get greedy. Because if you try and kill that golden goose, then you're going to have no more golden eggs. And that's a great fable that you should definitely pay attention to in this scenario. But smart people building bots, some of them understand, and they're not aggressive bots trying to destroy a marketplace. But there are people out there with absolutely no chill who are building bots that will destroy this marketplace if they go untapped. And we've seen it in the marketplace. We've seen it on now Sage Labs. And my fear is that the team have been like, well, people are going to build bots. That's the way it is. It's almost like, you know how some people can't talk without having PR training and media training? Like there's certain things you should and shouldn't say. The core team shouldn't come out being like, well, bots are going to exist. I get where they're coming from, but all it is doing is opening up the doors for people to say, yeah, botting's okay. And botting's really not okay. It destroys from the players, the real players that think they have an opportunity when really they don't. And so, yeah, you can build economic game loops around them. You can say, look, bots are inevitable, but we're doing, like, saying we're doing everything we can to combat the bots. We don't tolerate bots. We don't want bots. We understand they exist, but we're doing everything we can to make it hard for them and to focus on the players. Saying that is very different to saying, we know bots exist. We're just going to make a game for them. Like, you need to work on the way that you deliver to the public to set expectations, because right now the expectations that are being heard are, it's okay to bot. Star Atlas welcomes bots. And whether that might not be the intention, that's what's being heard, and that's setting that expectation. I'm just saying.
That being said, let's address the 10x toolkit requirement. I think you guys balanced it semi-decently with lowering the cost in warp, but I am required to warp now with my smaller ships as far away as I can from the Central Space Station, when I knew the original pitch was the smaller ships can fight for some of the scanning here, the medium and larger ships can go out, but the advantage is the smaller player on paper, to be honest.
Yeah, it doesn't at all, because that's the bots game, right? You're not going to beat the bots at that game. So smaller players have no chance of scanning. They don't.
I get to grind out with my extra small ships, and if you compare that, the small player's fleet with, let's just say, one large ship, right? The numbers are in the smaller player's favor. And the Discord people, I shouldn't even say the Discord people. There are a select group of Discord members that really jump on this subject.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why they jump on it so.
They are the emotional, reactive people who are either enjoying the drama, or they are trying to manipulate the markets and trying to change things, or they don't like change because they had a good thing that's no longer working.
Much, but they don't just answer questions. They then make fun of people.
I've seen this as well. That's the drama, right? There are a group of people there who have nothing better to do.
And how it's presented. There are many people in the community that are having the same SDU frustration, and to see them going and voicing their opinion to the team and the Discord and then being made fun of is not acceptable.
It's difficult, right? It's difficult because, if somebody buys a ship at $10,000 and that ship's now worth $1,000, do you laugh at them and go, you bought the top, what an idiot? No, it's disrespectful, right? But at the same time, people are people. Some people are going to do that. That says more about the person than it does anything else. If your way of getting enjoyment and feeling good about yourself is to put someone else down, that says more about you than anything else. But I would definitely say that there is an element in the community where, and this is difficult, right? Because you don't want a Discord that is overly policed, where there's a suppression of people's voices. And this is difficult for Santi and Dominic, because you don't want them to be policing that Discord to the level that people can't talk. or a fear of saying something of it being deleted. But at the same time, you don't want to allow or nurture this this community of people that are going to do that. I think the best thing to do, and what I've personally done, is people in a Discord who are disrespectful like that, just mute them. It's annoying that you can see blocked messages popping up on Discord, but just mute them. That's what I've done. Most of my Star Atlas Discord now is just blocked messages. I just remove the people that I don't care about or I'm not interested in spending my time listening to or talking to. And that's not people that disagree with me, because I'm open to a debate. But the people who are just rude, disrespectful, you know, we've seen lots of stuff in the Discord, from even down to people being racist. And it's like, damn, like, really? But that's what communities are about, right? There's always going to be different people. Some people are going to be happy, some people aren't. Change is always going to invoke these reactions in people. And I do agree with you that people should say less often. It's better to do that. But also, it's going back to this part of the game isn't like, the ship's in the air, but they're building it as they're flying it. It's not ready yet. And to make any... you can't please everyone all at once, right? So it's about getting this game live and then getting the attention on the game and checking it out and making sure the transactions work and making sure people are playing it and scaling up and then bringing in those other loops for people.
My opinion.
But I totally agree with what you're saying, though. If people are struggling, it's not right for other people to come in and make fun of that. That's not a good first impression for someone coming into the community. People should be more aware of that. But people get comfortable, they get lazy, they get set in their ways, and they turn to, I think personally, whatever like their inner character is, right? So someone who's a troll will be a troll, someone who's helpful will be helpful. You'll see some people helping, you'll see some people trolling. That's just the nature of how some people are.
And I'm going into like canceled territory now.
Let's hear it.
Also, I saw last night those same people being proud that they've quote unquote trained Chipto to be a little more rigid in his responses. Chipto is one of my favorite people in Star Atlas. I need to say that first. And I think he has had brilliant responses to people who have come in and quote unquote spread FUD or hate or like heavy criticism on moves of the team. However, I know now that some of that is hard to distinguish from some of the players coming in recently and saying, oh, we have a problem. Like the SDUs, you know, they're really messing us up. The people with, let's just say, one air bike, two air bikes.
But again, the game is not designed for people with one or two air bikes right now. It's not. Like, there's no game for you with one air bike right now. There's not. That maybe later will come in where you can go into like buy an air bike and go in the showroom and race it around the track. Right, that's your game. It's not scanning for SDUs. Like, you're not gonna be making money in the marketplace with an air bike. Like, you're just not. You can come in and pay $5 for an air bike. You're not gonna make that $5 back with an air bike. I don't believe it. Unless you do what I'm doing. I'm buying air bikes at $4 and I'm selling them at $5 or $6. Yeah, I'm flipping air bikes. I don't care. Sue me. I'm making some money out of it. And that's because I think since the patch went out, the bots might have... It feels like the bots in the marketplace, maybe they turned them off while they waited to see what happens. They'll probably enable them again. But for now, I wasn't getting bot sniped on the marketplace, and I was able to put in some lowball offers that got accepted, and I was able to sell them and make some profit. So yes, I've been flipping air bikes and making profit on that. I'm not ashamed of that. I prefer doing that over scanning. There is money to be made there, definitely. But the thing that I find, which is interesting at the moment, is the people that have got these air bikes and have bought these air bikes thinking there's a game there. There's no game for air bikes right now. There just isn't. People with big fleets of air bikes, like even some of them, we've seen them in there getting wrecked. I mean, you can't buy a fleet of air bikes and expect it to be like, this is how it's going to be, right? You have a limited window of opportunity to be able to capitalize on those air bikes. So you need to be able to get in, get what you're doing done, and then get out. You start building a whole operation around that, you're setting yourself up for failure because the meta's going to change, the game's going to change. This is a short-term thing. And so I think you would be mistaken, just my personal opinion, to build anything meaningful around that when it's still in discovery and hasn't been fully balanced, fully thrashed out, and we don't even have all the features yet. We don't have all the features. So it's not currently a game right now. There are some people making money, and there's some people with FOMO, and there's people looking at how do I do it, and that's where a lot of the money's. That's where a lot of the flipping and the trading and the money's coming from. That's where the opportunities really lie at the moment. Not with the zero to hero, one guy with an air bike. That's just not a profitable, viable business model at this time.
And I see that not not necessarily from crypto, but I do see like the I'm stumbling over myself now.
But do you know what though? And also I get this because I've been in this position. I've run a community with like a couple of 100,000 people in Discord, and it's almost like that. When you've got everything to lose and someone's got nothing to lose, they're the people to be most scared of because they can do and say anything. They've got nothing to lose. So people will often say something to get somebody who has something to lose. Like, there were people in Discord that were calling for a long time for me to be fired because I simply wouldn't agree with them, or I wouldn't enable them, and I just wouldn't give them attention. But the reality is you have to be very careful because sometimes when you say things, that can be taken out of context. It can be used. You know, there were people that used to come in the community saying, oh, is it okay if my brother comes over for the weekend and his girlfriend uses my Wi-Fi to create a second account because they're only here for the weekend and their dog's, cat's, uncle's, father's, son's, best friend's parrot won't multi-account. And I definitely won't multi-account, but I want to know, and they say stupid, and this is genuinely some of the, I mean, I exaggerate, but like some of the scenarios people go to, and all they're trying to do is get you to a point where if they get flagged up for multi-accounting, they can say, but Steve said it was all right. Steve said I could do this. And then it becomes this whole ethical debate. Well, hey, you did say this and they did do that. And so you have to be so careful in your responses to people because people will go out of their way. And it's sad that this happens, but it happens. People will go out of their way to try and trick up core team members for them to say something that can then be used against them later. It happens all the time. It's sad, it's shitty, but it is what it is. And so when you're saying like people like crypto and things like that, it's what I'm saying about media training and community training. You have to be careful what you say. Less is more. I love that the team show up. I love that the team are present, but there will always be people that exploit that. And so as a company that has a reputation, that is building, that has something to lose, Dominic, Santi, Crypto, Chris, everyone that comes up, that shows up on these podcasts, in these shows, that does stuff, they have to be careful. Yeah, there'll be times they'll slip up, they'll say things, but ultimately, less is more. And whilst everyone's like just craving that instant dopamine hit, like I want to know what's happening. I want to know what the meta is. I want to know what to do. How do I make the money? What's going to happen next? Sometimes just need to chill. Sometimes just need to wait. And this is where traditional gaming and development, where people will build and then deploy, sometimes is better than the iteration process where you get to see the entire process, which is fascinating, but it creates too much noise in the community. And often, and I'm going to say this, and you think you're going to get cancelled, this is going to get me killed. Most of the community, a lot of the time, should just shut up. I've said it. There you go. Most of the community, most of the time, should just shut up. They should just let the team do their job. And stop trying to micromanage people that have got PhDs. Stop trying to micromanage people who know what they're doing, because you're seeing a small part of a bigger picture and commenting on it because it affects you. Sometimes you just need to have trust and faith. I'm not saying that people shouldn't comment, and I'm not saying people shouldn't get involved, and I'm not saying people shouldn't say things when they're wrong, but you can't judge this on a game right now because it's not a game. It's a small part that's been deployed. It's like V1 of a deployment where we've got so many other iterations to come. There's so many things that are going to come into this. And yes, we can talk about this, and it's great to do that, but we have to be realistic and look at the bigger picture at the same time.
Guys, I apologize, but I hope you can see where
He's apologized for me telling everyone to shut up, and I apologize too. I'm not saying shut up. I'm just saying like there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise, and often I think it's hard for people that need to see the data and the facts. It's hard for them to see through the noise.
I'm going. The responses that they're getting is maybe not what we should strive for as the Star Atlas community.
Fair.
I want to challenge you guys out there to,
say less.
Treat your responses with at least respect. Right?
There you go.
You can.
That's a better response.
Opinions of like, oh my gosh, why does everybody come in and say the same thing? oh my gosh, like get over it, buy some more toolkits, right? But if you're looking at the larger economy and the areas in the round of areas out in the world that don't have a lot of money, that's the whole pitch, right? That was the whole vision, that we can help the people, right? Power to the people.
But we need to build a product first. This is a Sage Labs is not a product, it's a prototype. It's a minimum viable product designed to test and to make sure that the team are going in the right direction. It's not the game. It's a part of the game.
And if they are now burning through 10x more toolkits, they don't have the money to have the fuel to go back and forth, let alone the toolkits, right? And then they have to find an area that's not already taken up by larger players or bots.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a very difficult situation.
Yeah, it's not what it's designed for.
See that after 4, 5, 6 attempts of finding a decent area, if they fail those initial attempts, they're likely not going to play that game loop.
And they shouldn't right now.
That's the frustration that I am seeing.
I see for air bikes. So here's a potential game loop for air bikes. You go into the showroom, you line up for a Sunday League race where first prize is like 1,000 Atlas. And if you win the race based on skill, you get 1,000 Atlas. That's where I see, and everyone's racing an air bike. And it's based on skill. That's where I see people making money on air bikes. Not through SDU scanning.
Myself included. I have gone out. I have now found a few spots within Oni for my Zero to Hero series where I am finding some SDUs. I need to see if it's as profitable, but even if it's less profitable, that's still okay as long as like it's more than the toolkit and the fuel cost, right? Which I believe it is. So, that's my experience. I know that other players that have come to me have a very different experience of not being able to find that place. And of course, the reaction is just go deeper in space. But yeah,
it doesn't work.
Get so many attempts, right?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Hit in them, they're not going to play.
No, but it's not for them right now. We're too early for them people.
I think
we are too early for those people. We should not be selling the expectation that Star Atlas is fun to play at the moment, because it's not for people. It's fun for people that want to hoard, that want to hold resources, and that can flip some profits and make some money. It's fun for them. And yeah, don't get me wrong, it's fun like trying to figure out game loops and stuff like that, but that's like the spreadsheet warriors, and it's not for everyone. In terms of a game, for people that want to genuinely just enjoy a game, it's not fun. It's not fun. And so, unless you're analytically minded, spreadsheet focused, looking at efficiency plays, and willing to accept that a lot of stuff is going to keep changing, it's not fun right now. And that's where a lot of the disillusion comes from, I think. Because people are out there marketing and selling a game, which we need to do because we need to attract people, but then people come in and they're like, well, where do I get started? Where do I make money? And it's all around the money. It's all around the economy, and it's all around the money. I don't think we should be focusing on mass adoption or marketing until the Unreal Engine side of the game is built, because that's where we're going to be able to bring people in. Right now, we're just testing transactions on Solana right now. We're just building out the infrastructure, and we're making sure it works. And the people who are paying attention, and the people that are looking at the moment, are people that are looking to make money.
Is an unintended, not advantage to larger players per se, or not a disadvantage to smaller players. Like more of a, oh my gosh, this is why you should script. No. What I mean is, I remember a very distinct conversation in the Star Atlas Discord where a player came in to the Foundation room and said, hey, I have 15 fleets, right, of 10 extra small ships. Is there anything that we can do to balance this out where like a disband all or fuel all or something, where I can get these ships going, because this is really annoying. And Swagner's response, appropriately, was SDU scanning then is not for you. You have a larger fleet, right? So go mine and then sell those resources for the SDUs that you need. And I think that's still the solution. But now that we have a dock all, undock all, and a scan all button, even though I absolutely love those buttons with my small / medium fleet, it has an unintended consequence on my 2 air bikes. And that being that I, as the small medium player, can now have, 10 fleets of extra small ships. Having almost negating, I should say, the advantage the small player had. Because if you go into the Discord and say that the small player no longer has advantage, they'll be like, look at this sheet. This is comparing a fleet of extra small ships with this large ship. That's not how it's done. Whales have multiple fleets. Let's say a small player has 10 extra small ships. Well, these guys have multiple fleets of those, right? So with the scan all, dock all, undock all, it took away the annoyance, which was a deterrent of sorts. I stopped doing it with my small medium ships. I remember going out on the second day of Sage Labs being released to go scan. I was like, this is not worth this.
Yep, I agree, and I was the same. I scanned a few times, and I was like, meh. I would scan before mining, I would scan after mining, and in the end, I just gave up. And it's right. It's not a core game loop for everyone. It's not. It's just profitable at the moment, and I think it's really important to remember that a small player. And by the way, for me, like, what's a small player, right? Because if you wanted a fleet of 10 air bikes right now, that you still need to put like between $50 to $100 into the game. Like, air bikes right now are like $5 to $6 each. You're still putting in like $50 to $60 into the game right now to create that small fleet, right? If you have one air bike, you're still putting in like $10. You're not going to make that back. You're not gonna go out with one air bike and scan and be self-sustaining and be able to generate profits on that. You're just not. So you can't look at it like that. If you want to enjoy that game loop and play that, great. If you want to look at how much money do you need to invest to be self-sustaining, you can do that. But at the moment, you're not going to do that. You're just not going to do that. Like, if you want to craft some resources for the future, the opportunity right now in this game is to go out into the medium risk zone for the smaller players, to sub-warp out there and to mine some resources and get some stuff that otherwise they wouldn't be able to get. Luminite, diamonds, anything like that. And you're going to struggle to get there with an air bike. It's totally possible. You can do it. It's hard because you have to like set up all the way along with like fuel at different stations and things like that. It's not economically viable. 100% it's not. But this is the only way you can do that right now is to hoard for later, and you're not going to be able to mine enough to be able to get back. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So this is not a game for those people right now. It's not. It just isn't. And so why should the team focus on fixing a problem that isn't a problem? It's not a problem because it's not broken. It's doing its job. It's just these people and these fleets and these players, you're early. The game's not ready for you yet. And it might be sad that other people are enjoying it and you're not, but that's just a fact. That's just a reality. Your game loop is not ready.
This is so annoying. So I stopped and I went pure into mining.
It's what I do, by the way. I just mine.
Easier, right?
Yeah, much
so
easier.
The smaller player doesn't have that advantage. They have more competition. That we've already had the bots, right, just sitting there.
Yep.
Now we have players with the scan all, dock, undock.
Which is nice because the bots were doing that anyway, so you've kind of given power back to the people by saying, hey, look, the bots are going to do this anyway, so now we're going to give you the advantage to compete with those bots, but if you want to. But yeah, ultimately, this is... There's no game loop at the moment for the small player. There's not, and it shouldn't be marketed as such because it's just not there.
Being able to do the same thing in almost the same amount of time. Sure, they burn more resources, and I know that's going to be the counter argument, but you can see that there's more competition at least.
Frustrating, mate, isn't it?
I really want to say again, I look forward to the changes that Star Atlas is going to make with the scanning, and I hope it's not just give buffs to the ships that have the scanning features,
No,
because those aren't extra small.
I'd like to see game loops enabled around it.
Those are, yeah, more expensive, not to your small player ships. Now, yeah, moving on, but still kind of tied. I already kind of voiced it already, but just like, yeah, the tweet that I put out, as a reminder to the community that let's treat these newcomers, returning players, and even old players that are just frustrated with a little more decency.
I agree with that. We should absolutely treat people with more decency. We should be respectful to people, but also we shouldn't disillusion people. We need to be honest and real with people, but we can definitely do it in a tactful way. You shouldn't tell new people coming in the game, hey, yeah, go and buy a bike, you can make some money. Yeah, there's some money to be made, absolutely, but most people won't. Most people won't be making money at the moment, and for someone to make money, someone needs to be losing money, and that's just the reality. That's how it works. Now, there is an economy there is money to be made there, but you need to be willing to take that risk, and there's no guarantee that risk is going to pay off. So are you able to get in, get that money, and get out? That's what it's all about, and that's the game loop at the moment. Someone coming in with a couple of dollars and an air bike, the game's not there for you right now. It's just not yet. Go and download Showroom and rag your air bike around and wait for the next release.
We're in a very rough time in the markets,
Mm-hmm.
and
Hell yeah.
I believe someone said this as a reply to one of my tweets as well. Like, they're here still, right?
Yep.
Or new players are coming in regardless of the current market.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, people don't care anymore. They're numb. They just. Do you know the worst thing in a relationship? The worst thing in a relationship, whether it's a relationship with a person, whether it's a relationship with yourself, with a business, or whether it's a relationship with crypto in general, whether it's a relationship with a game, whether it's a relationship with a community, whatever relationship. If you hate or love something, and let's just use hate as an example. If you hate something, you still have feelings. And if you still have feelings, you still care, regardless whether you want to admit it or not. If you're triggered, if you're emotionally charged, if you react to something, you still care. You're still invested. The worst point at any point in a relationship, when you know that relationship is dead, and I'm not just talking about like romantic relationships or physical relationships or anything like that. I'm talking about any relationship. The point you know a relationship is dead is when somebody says, I just don't care. I just don't care. That's when you know it's dead, because that person's just given up. So the fact that people are still here, people still care. And the fact that people still care about crypto and they still care about this space is good. Whether they hate or love it, whether they're angry or happy, sad, positive, whatever, the FUD, even people that are FUDing, they're still here. They still care. They might not admit it, but they still care. The worst people are the people, well, not the worst people, but the worst thing would be the people that go, do you know what, crypto? I just don't care about crypto anymore. I just don't care. I have no interest in crypto. That's when it's dead. The fact that people are still here, people still care.
Especially as whales. Like the small guys, the casual players, make up a majority of a community. I know you guys make up the majority of the money within that community, but eventually, as we amass so many casuals,
whales need new players and new players need whales. New players hate whales. Whales understand new players. It's really difficult. But people without money want money. People with money need the people without money to be able to do those game loops. There has to be synergy. But ultimately, here's the one thing that I was once told, and I agree with. Any game, regardless, any game cannot focus on the whales. If you focus on the whales and you negate the small people, you will lose your player base. You have to build a game loop that focuses on the new players but benefits the whales. But you cannot focus on the whales. New players hate whales, most of them, because of jealousy, envy, because of frustration, whatever it may be. But a lot of new people and a lot of people without money hate the whales. And there's no such thing as a rich victim. So when something goes wrong for a whale, it's like, haha, oh well, shit happens. Well, you were stupid for buying that $10,000 ship. Or, well, you shouldn't have invested $100,000 into that game. Well, that's your fault. Everyone's just happy to see someone fail. And it's sad. It's sad that we see that, but it's true. And so, yeah, people bought the top and they're holding, and there's a lot of copium, and it's really painful. And I get that. And people are venting, and I get that. But most of the people in that situation, they're just sitting there quietly. They're not saying anything. They're just sitting there quietly because they know that it doesn't matter. You know, you can't have conversations with people that will understand that kind of thing. You just need to leave it and let it run its course. And so for the new players that are coming in, they should just focus on themselves and they should just focus on enjoying the game. And if they don't enjoy it, they should come back later and see how it is in 3, 6, or 12 months' time. But I think at the moment, trying to, I would say, consider the current game economy that it doesn't fit well for smaller players or new players. It's not built for them right now. It's just not built for them. And I think that's where a lot of the maybe education could come through, and they could definitely work. Star Atlas could definitely work on the educational aspect of building that up for people to understand. But it's difficult, right? You need to grow a community, so you need the hype, so you want to build up a lot of this, but at the same time, you don't want to set expectations and make a rod for your own back. It's a catch-22 at the moment.
I consider myself casual, so I'm not using that as a negative term, by the way.
I like the way you're trying to like please everyone, but you don't need to do that.
Experience with their friends as well, and we all then grow there together. It shouldn't be a you can't afford that, or hey, just do some math, or hey, do this. We need to guide each other along on this journey. Okay.
Yes, we do.
And that will always be my opinion.
And I agree with you. But I just think that the best way to guide someone in that journey right now is to tell them to wait. It's not wrong to tell someone that the timing's wrong, and that as a new player with no investment, it's not the right time for you. We need players, so it's difficult, and I get that. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with telling people, hey, like people just have this fear of saying no. Like, hey, should I play Star Atlas right now? No, you shouldn't. Because there's a fear, because like, oh, but we need new players. Yeah, we do, but the game's not ready. So, hey, look, you can dabble, you can look into it if you want to, but yeah, we have fun playing this. Maybe, maybe not. Is the game ready for mass adoption? No. Can you make a lot of money playing this game without investing a lot of money? No. Is there a lot of risk at the moment? Yes. Is there a way to have fun with a small air bike? Yes. Are you likely to break even with that small air bike? No. There's nothing wrong with saying no and being honest about people and setting realistic expectations. And that's just where we are. It doesn't mean it's how it's always going to be. It's just where we are right now. And we need to give the team some time. It's a much smaller team now. They've had to cut back on a lot of their resources. And so we have to be respectful that it's going to take longer than we initially planned. And we just need to accept that and understand that the team are working as hard as they can to get this game out to us. And we shouldn't judge the current version as the final version.
I just want to shift then to, if you're a new player coming in, don't be scared by this, guys. This is just
this is great.
Pains of a community.
This is great. This is giving people real factual perspectives.
I've spent a lot of time in DMs, on calls on.
Don't turn on your DMs, guys. It's not worth it. You'll get scammed.
Discord.
Not by him. I'm not saying that Atlas Theory is going to scam you. I'm just saying in general you'll get scammed. Just don't turn on your DMs.
In numerous places, just giving time to people who want to join this community. So I encourage you guys to do the same. And if you don't have that time, then at least be decent in the Discord, guys.
Absolutely.
That's our community. If we mistreat each other there, then like really, what are we? That being said, thank you again to the team, Dom, Santi, Jose. As far as that community, you guys lead us very well, and we appreciate you guys. We love you guys.
I agree, and I also want to thank you, Atlas Theory, for bringing this out and for talking about this. I appreciate this has been a long video. I wanted to do this react to cover my perspective on this. I think you bring up some valuable points, but I also think that you're very early, and what you're building at the moment, I kind of feel like it's something that we definitely need. I just think it's a bit early. I think we might need more sustenance in the game to be able to really capitalize on what it is you're offering. But your valid points about respect, about treating people with decency, and about just being realistic is noble and appreciated. And the time and effort and energy that you spend creating content and helping people is Yeah, much love for what you're doing.
Chipto, again, one of my faves. Don't
Agreed.
have a hardened heart, my dude. I'm not saying you are, but yeah, keep that perspective because, you know, if the whales are truly, you know, saying that they made you harder, that's not a great thing.
It might not be a great thing, but it's needed. You have to be thick-skinned in this game. It's just a sad reality of what it is.
And yeah, of course, the swags. Thank you, guys. Thank you for dealing with all these frustrations.
I'm going to leave it there, but yeah, this is it. Thanks team. Thanks team for everything you're doing, because you are working hard and dealing with a lot of stuff, and it is exhausting. Thanks to the community for being there, for supporting the game, for holding it down, because without the community there is no game. But yeah, I agree. We need to be respectful. We need to be understanding. We need to work together. We need to grow. We just need to grow at the moment. The game needs to grow. The community needs to grow. Everything needs to grow. And these are just growing pains. So let's experience them together and see what comes next year. From, you know, we've got Breakpoint coming up. We've got 2024, which is going to be an exciting year. I'm excited. I'm excited for what Star Atlas can be.